Greetings, all greetings, greetings, greetings. Rainy day, gray skies, sometimes black. And when I said black, I mean like asphalt black, darker than that. But it's cleared up. Luckily, it's only rain, no real hurricane force winds. But beautiful day nevertheless. Rain is good. My last video was about events in the Gambia, but they're not only in the Gambia, it's all across Africa. And if we look further across Europe and America, because the events in Africa are changed to improve. The events in America are changes that are destroying what was built. And the system put in place it benefited many people. Just like the system put in place in Africa benefited many people. You know, the British or French or Dutch or Belgians, Germans, and everybody, they benefited immensely from the misery of Africa. And Gambia, like all the African states, are now having to deal with that. The old men that were put in charge after what the British call independence and the American call independence was no measure of independence whatsoever. We all know what France did to its colonies. They were worse off than when France was running the place. Because when France was running the place, there were French people in the colonies. And they had to employ Africans during that time. But when they moved out, just look at the Congo. There are plenty of Caucasian people from Europe in the Congo, you know. Many people show you the misery there. They don't show you anything, any place where you see Caucasian people. Don't show you those luxury hotels and high rises where they live. They just show you the misery of the African. And there's a reason for that. The world has to be made to show Africans in that condition, so that the world will say, well, we better than Africans. And if you're in Asia and they're treating you bad in Asia, if you're in India, well, some of you might not have been to India. I've been there. And I've seen Indians in conditions, I would say 75% of Indians are in worse conditions than Africans are. And if you don't believe me, go to India. But anyway, my last video, one of the viewers left a comment regarding the changes that I mentioned, talked about in the video. And he, from the name, I'm assuming it's a male. And from the language he used, I'm assuming it's a male. Because the language was not emotional language that females use. It was logical language. He said, we're going to remove our president in the coming election. And he listed many of the practices that has gone on during his time in office. And what he said is correct. But there's something that I don't know if he knows it or if he lacked that knowledge. So I'm going to make a video about it. So if he knows it, he say, I know that. But if he don't know it, he will have gained some knowledge. So that when his brother and him go to vote to remove that president, they would have a greater knowledge and moving forward, wisdom on what to do and how to do it. They will formulated a plan that goes past voting a president out of office. He sees the corruption in the society that plagues Africans, not just Gambians. And when I say Africans, I don't mean just Africans in Africa, but Africans in the diaspora as well. Excuse me. And his suggestion to remove the leader by voting it out is a good one. However, there's another part of this thing, because voting is people refer to that as democracy. And we're going to look into this thing they call democracy. Because to clean up the Gambia, much more is needed. And every African state is cursed with the same issues of corruption, bad governance, lack of food, good health care, clean water, injustice, etc., that the Gambia faces. So this is going to have to be done throughout Africa. It might begin in Gambia, it might begin in Kenya, it might begin in Burkina Faso, Niger. You know, people are watching what AES is doing and saying, hey, this is what we want to happen in our states. And so it's beginning, and then there's a continuation. And Gambia is part of that continuation process. This plan to replace the leaders during the balloting is commendable, but shows that we Africans have been kind of bamboozled, you know, kind of, we've been given this. Let me say something first. Democracy is a two-part system. There's a mythology and there's a reality, you know. There's one that we believe in. And then there's the other part that if you let the part that you believe dominate your mind, the reality is going to hurt you even worse. Because you'll be thinking that you voted for change, but the change doesn't come. And that's what we got to deal with. So my brothers and many of us, I mean 99% of us, have to come to the we got to reason with ourselves and say, hey, look, you know, facts are facts. So this reality of democracy is what we got to deal with. Because right now we have the mythology. The mythology says that when systems fail, when the systems in the government fail, you remove the president and it should change. When the system fail, you remove the elected officials and it should change. The reality is, no matter how many of those elected officials remove, it doesn't change. And look at America now. Look at all throughout Europe. There have been elections in the last 3-4 years. And what are the conditions that exist right now? What are the conditions? Have they changed? Have they gotten worse? That's the question. The reality of democracy is that a president and any of the elected official is just the face that you see. But behind that, and many people, most people don't even look behind the face that they see, the mouth that speaks. Just go look at the Kenya, what happened to Kenya. The Kenyan government was handed a piece of paper saying these are the changes that you need to make in government. And President Ruto, he took that piece of paper and ran with it. It was handed to him by somebody outside Gambia. And it was agreed to by the wealthy people, not outside Gambia, outside Kenya. And it was accepted by the wealthy in Kenya. None of the poor people knew about what was going on. When they found out, said, no. This is not going to happen. The government sent in the police, the army, the thugs that are going to beat up everybody. Lots of people died. The other thing is that, let's take Gambia example. All the small vans, they call them gillies, that transport people. The small stores, like vegetable stores, and you have these stores that not even the size of the 7-Eleven, if you know what a 7-Eleven is. They are shops that sell food. Most of those shops sell imported food. Very few items in their shop are made in Gambia, are grown in Gambia. You look at it, you will see they're all made in Muslim countries or in India. Why is that? Why is it that Gambians don't say, you know what? Why is all this, we have to stop this? Why? The other thing is you look at almost all the stores that deal with construction equipment, and you'll see that there's a large corporation. I don't know, about 4 or so. You have the ones that bring in all of the metals from Turkey, all of the electrical equipment from India. The sand that me to build a house, all the quarries are owned by Indians or Lebanese. You see where I'm going with this? No Gambian owning wealth generating corporations in the Gambia. And when I say wealth, I don't mean that they're making enough money to feed their families. I'm talking about people are putting billions of dollars into the bank, or shipping it to India, Turkey, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, UAE, everywhere except Gambia. All these large profitable businesses are not owned by Gambians, but they are wealthy Gambians in Gambia. How did they get their wealth? When a Gambian, a poor Gambian, any Gambian for that matter, that don't have wealth or status in government, visits one of the government offices, somewhere in that office there's a demand for compensation outside of the pay or salary that that person is receiving, the person who is serving, doing the service. That person is not voted into office, and neither the person above him, his manager, or the officer at the top of the organization. None of them are voted into office. Every entity in the Gambia has this process. Gambians know it now. Gambians who operate a motor vehicle or motorcycle, they get on the boat on the highway or the roads, and maybe every 1 or 2 kilometers between their homes and their destination, there's a checkpoint. And at every one of these checkpoints, somebody is looking in your vehicle, smile, requesting a favor from you. Now, let's say the average Gambian makes $300 a day. And that when he leaves home and returns in the morning, from that $300, he has to pay out $100. He has a family to feed. And every vehicle that goes by throughout the day, how much money do you think is collected? So the wealth of the poor is being transferred to the people at these checkpoints and all the way up the ladder. Gambians know who does it, how it's done, and they know that none of the people who do these things are elected. So therefore, you can't get them out of office. It was a commission set up by the government to investigate the corruption in Gambia. And I think somewhere down the line they discovered $30+ million now, US dollars, missing from several of the government entities that's supposed to serve the Gambian people. Handed the information to the judiciary and the governor and the president. Nobody prosecuted. Nobody fired from their job. This is where the wealth is going. And it's not in Gambia only, it's throughout Africa. You have seen several coups d'etats throughout Africa. And when the reports came out, you see people with suitcases filled with cash in their homes, trying to escape across the border into some other country with the vehicle, 6 suitcases, 10 suitcases in the back filled with cash. There's a story about South Africa the other day that the president's farm, they found millions of dollars, US dollars. Investigated, ended after that. Nobody prosecuted for the money. Stolen. This is where the wealth goes. You replace the president, but whoever comes along is also owned by the same entity that's paying off the president. You have an election and the 2 people who are running for office controlled by the same entity. Wealth outside the country. You heard about the EU and the AU and the president of the EU being paid by the French. The office being supported by an outside entity. You heard about the UN. They run all the health care. I mean, everything throughout Africa, the UN runs. Some organization in the UN is pumping billions of dollars into it that disappear. All of the money is going into the pockets of people who are heads of agencies, from healthcare, education, public works, tax collection, etc. So when you replace the political class, or one politician or 2 politicians, the problem that has to be fixed remains, because the people you don't replace are outside your vote. I remember one day a Gambian, I'm standing there, people just standing around us, and he shouted loudly because he objected to something that I said. This is the Gambia. We have democracy now. I can do anything I want. This is my country. Go back to where you came from if you don't like so and so and so. I'll leave that part out. I just looked at him and smiled. I said to myself, I cannot have a conversation with this person. From the time he opened his mouth, I seen his lack of knowledge, and I know that having a conversation with him is a waste of time. To him, democracy gives him the right to do anything he wants, and anybody who don't like it, to shut up. You get what you vote for. That's the reality of democracy. The mythology of democracy is that you can change something. I hope you comprehend what I'm saying. And if you don't have this knowledge, then seek it. And make sure the people around you who are going to vote know it. So you can make choices. And then, after you choose the president that you want, you have to stress in him and support him to make the changes that you and your fellow countrymen want and need. Otherwise, you're just living the myth of democracy. You don't want change. You're just satisfying yourself, patting yourself on the back saying, I did something. So if you want this that you're looking at here, blue sky, beautiful weather, you have to make it. Have a great day wherever you are. Peace.
Tell us, when they approach these stations, shoot them, and you'll defend us. I'm telling you the whole truth, you are a liar. You have lied. You will not protect me. All that you will protect, it is your interest. You will not protect me. I will be sacrificed in court before a judge, and I will be sentenced to prison. What happened to Katito? He was sung as a hero. But finally, the determination of the court came out. You are not justifiable to kill even a criminal. What are you supposed to do? If you are within the late positions of arrest, present that person before the court of law. I say no to police brutality. I say no more to killings. I can't kill my brother. I can't kill my sister. You are saying this because your children are not on the streets, right? You are saying this because your cousins are not on the streets. You are saying this because your brother or your sister is not on the street. You are saying this that they should be killed when they approach those stations where they are supposed to be protected, because there is nobody of your family who will be on those streets. I am very sorry, Kenyans. If these are the kind of leaders we have, then I believe we have a problem of incompetency. We are very sorry about that. How will I go back to my children and tell them their mother is normal, or their father is normal, or their cousin is normal? It's because they were shot there demonstrating and asking the government to hear their cry. Kenyans, we love you. Every OCS and every OSPD and ever we are, have seen people doing great work. Please, if they approach our gates,